presentation.
Okay.
Now we have the second speaker for today, Professor Dr. Doaa El-Sherif. She's professor of environmental planning and urban management, executive director for training and international cooperation at the Urban Training and Studies Institute, UTI, general supervisor of the Building Codes Training Department, Housing and Building National Research Center, HBRC, and Ministry of Housing, Utilities and Urban Communities. So I'm pleased to welcome Dr. Doaa to contribute today and with her presentation, Capacity Building Practices and Efforts for Delta Region.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Hassan. It is really my pleasure to be part of this event. Thank you for the invitation. And can I share my screen, or you will share it?
You'll share it?
I will share it with you.
I will try to share it.
I have your file if you wanted to share it.
Okay, okay, great.
Okay, yeah, I will share it right now. Is it working? Okay, perfect.
Yes. Okay. ممكن تعملها عرض بس يعني يبقى هي كده باينة كويس عندكم؟
باينة.
Okay. Okay. So good afternoon or good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure actually being part of this event. Thank you, Dr. Hassan, for presenting me, and I'm going to talk about the capacity building practices and efforts in Egypt, and with a specific focus on Delta region. Yes, please, next slide. Hamdi. Hello, do you hear me? Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay. Okay, okay. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the urban challenges faced by Egyptian city. Of course, all of you know that, but I'm going to focus on a number of challenges facing the cities in Delta: informal urbanization, urban encroachment to agricultural land, high densities and crowding, environmental deterioration, deregulation of housing, inadequate infra. We have all these problems in the cities of Egypt, and also specifically in the Delta region. So all these problems, if we need to, and we need institutions. In order that we can solve those problems. Yes, Hamdi. In order to be able to solve those problems, what kind of capacities do we need to build? We need to build the capacities of the human resources to face the problems. Before we continue talking about capacity building, let us think what is capacity building first. Capacity building is an intervention that enables any organization to fulfill its mandate more effectively, more efficiently, and more sustainability. We can say that capacity building means training. Yes, it includes training, but it is not just training. Next. It includes institutional development as a second component. Institutional development for any institution includes the mandate, legal framework, funding, protocols, and memorandum of understanding with different stakeholders, links to NGOs, work groups, etc. Next. And then the organizational strengthening, it is the third component of the capacity building, which includes the strategy of the organization, its assets, the premises, the vehicles, the computers, and guidelines and manuals that the organization uses, the reference materials, books, publication, and the organization structure horizontally and vertically. Next. Organization strengthening also include the plans of the organization, the annual plan, the systems, which include financial management, information system, the complaint procedure, legal procedures, monitoring, and etc. And finally, it includes the human resource management, the job description, recruitment, performance appraisal. Next, please. So when we talk about the capacity building with its three components we mentioned, this idea started in Egypt after the conference in Istanbul, 1996. This conference focused on the capacity building as for local governments on decentralization of managing urban and socio-economic projects in Egypt. At that time, the Ministry of Housing and Utilities and Urban Communities of Egypt, when preparing the national policy of the ministry, started to emphasize the capacity building for local governments as a very important component to implement and manage urban development projects. At that time, the need to establish a regional and national training institute was raised, and to be for capacity building in the field of housing and urban development. Next, please. So there was a need to establish a training and capacity building body. So in the year 1996, there started a cooperation project between the government of the Netherlands and the government of Egypt. This project was aiming at achieving sustainable development for Egyptian city through the capacity building idea. And the project starts between the Dutch government, represented by the IHS, which is the Institute for Housing and Urban Development Studies, and the Ministry of Egypt, the Ministry of Housing in Egypt, represented by my mother organization, HBRC, Housing and Building National Research Center. At that time, the cooperation project, not yet, the cooperation project established the training and research in housing and urban development project. It was at that time a training and research project and not yet an institute. This training and was called Truth, the project, and it lasts for 4 years until the year 2000. Next. So the Truth project has a training component, and we started through this project at HBRC to make a training needs assessment in the context, in the Egyptian context, and we started to make a prioritization of the needs, training needs in Egypt based on the present policy and the training needs assessment study. And we had already at that time 5 fields for training, and we started to also check the target groups and target institutions that need training and started to design tailor-made training program. Next, please. After that, we started to take the three first priorities: urban management, formal and informal housing, informal management, environmental management and planning. And we started at that time to design tailor-made trainings. This was in the late 90s and was many years before the establishment of SDF, which we had the previous presentation. So we started earlier talking about informal housing in Egypt and prepared courses in this regard. Next, please. The Truth project also has a research component which focuses on capacity building and also knowledge building. The research focused on case study research, applied research, academic research. The case study research was for the purpose of feeding the course development. So we had the courses based on the outcomes of all the case studies in order to give more knowledge to the participants attending our trainings. And the applied researchers feeded the project preparation. And we also started dissemination information by translated material into Arabic for publications and sharing information in order to enrich the Arabic library in Egypt. Next, please. At that point, at the year 2000, at the end of the first phase of our project, the need to capacity building, it was clear that we need to broaden the base of capacity building in Egypt. We need to have a training institute to support capacity building for the trainees, for the clients, for all the organization. Next, please. Then we started to establish the Urban Training and Studies Institute, which I am heading, and I'm talking about it now. Please, next. Yes, so at the year 2000, we started successfully the second phase of the Egyptian-Dutch cooperation, and at the same time, we started the establishment of the Urban Training and Studies Institute, UTI, which is embedded in the HBRC structure of the Ministry of Housing. Until the year 2004, until training, alhamdulillah, from 2004 till 2020 right now. Next, please. Our cooperation, the Dutch project finished. However, we are still cooperating with the local and international partners. For the international partners, we are cooperating with a number of universities all over the world. We have organizations like IHS, ITC, the Corpus Europe in the Netherlands. We have UN Habitat, GLTN, and also GIZ, the German cooperation. Next, please. At the local level, we have a lot of partners also, different partners, and we are working with them in different activities. Next, please. Now I'm going to talk with you about the main activities related to capacity building held by the Urban Training Institute, which include training courses and capacity building, research studies and applied research, and workshops and conferences. Next. Yes, for the training, UTI has a broad training strategy, and its main focus is to enhance the skills and effectiveness of individuals, professionals, practitioners who are directly involved in development programs all over Egypt, and we are targeting all the stakeholders working in the field of urban development. We are targeting the academics, the governmental officials, the private sector. Also, they come to train, to attend training at our premises, and also NGOs and local authorities all kind of stakeholders, they are included in our target group. Next, please. Next, please. Yes. As part of the training, we have an annual program. We have an annual program. No, the previous one, please. Yes. We have an annual program including 9 different themes, thematic fields, which include, each one of them includes a number of training courses underneath. And we have already trained thousands of trainees all over the years, not only from Egypt, but also from the Arab region and also from Europe and the African countries, as we have a cooperation, agreement of cooperation between UTI and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And through this cooperation, we train those people working in urban development and in the ministries of housing in different European and African countries. Yes, next, please. Yeah, in regard to the institutional development and organizational performance, which I mentioned as part of the capacity building process, UTI is supporting the institutional reform for a number of institutions, and through this task we design and develop and conduct tailor-made trainings which are designed specially for specific organizations and institutions, and this can address more effectively the needs of specific local organizations and their staff. And we always link between the training, the on-job technical assistant, and institutional restructuring. And also we, for some institutions, as per their request, we make after an assessment after the restructuring. I'm sorry, I have to drink some water. Sorry. Sorry for that. Yes, the next slide, please. Yes, also the research is part of our capacity building mission, and it is geared to institutional analysis and assessment of government policy effectiveness. UTI carries a series of case studies and issue-focused research that aims at the development of training support materials based on the Egyptian experiences, and most of them are related to national researches and national topics as listed below. Next, please. Yes, as part also of our main activities, we have workshop and advisory services. We conduct a lot of workshops annually and international conferences. We are right now preparing for an international conference with UN Habitat GLTN next February, for those who don't know, on the land governance issues in the Arab region. This is the coming conference. And all those conferences and workshops, they aim at exchanging local and international experiences in order to reach the latest approaches and alignment with enabling mechanism to achieve sustainable urban development, which is our the main goal of UTI. Next, please. Yes, in the coming slides, I am listing a number of workshops which we held. It shows the variety of topics we are talking about and the variety of partners we are working with. For example, we have just we held a couple of training for African countries one was in November 19, and the other one is not stated here, was in February 2020, as was just the last activity for the African people, just because COVID-19. It was about the participatory mechanisms for informal areas development. This was in cooperation with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We had a number of workshops with GOPP and UN Habitat, and also expert group meeting on land management for the Arab states with GLTN. Next, please. Yes, here is the list continued. We had the state land management system with GLTN in Amman with UN Habitat, and also the relationship of agricultural land with urban planning with the Netherlands, and land tenure and empowerment in the Islamic land with world with GLTN. Solid waste management with the Netherlands, sustainable design of buildings with the Netherlands regional economy. Next, please. We had also with Mid-ENIC, which is funded by the European Union, a workshop and guidelines on energy efficiency in urban planning, and with the Netherlands IHS bridging borders integrated strategic planning for cities and region. I'm showing this only to show you how the variety of our topics, however, at the end, they are all related to urban development in Egypt, either in Egypt or in the Arab world. Next, please. Yes, this is a complete, some also of the list. Strengthening the capacity of Egyptian cities in order to achieve the Millennium Development Goal. Next, please. Yes, now I'm going to show you the ongoing activities that we are having now at UTI. We have a capacity and knowledge development project on land governance in the Arab region. This project started 2019, and it will last for 2 years until the end of 21. The project is a cooperation project between UTI, GLTN, as UTI is partner of one of the partners of GLTN. GLTN, by the way, is the Global Land Tools Network, and it is affiliated to UN Habitat. And also, this project is in cooperation with the World Bank and is funded by BMZ. Next, please. Yes, the objectives of the project are 2 objectives. The first is to conduct assessments of the needs of the capacity, existing knowledge resources in the Arab region, the learning curricula in existing institutes, and the needs in terms of training. The second objective is to implement convenient programs in the Arab region. Next, please. Yes, the main activities of the project are 3 main activities: capacity needs assessment on land government, which include the land governance capacity needed items in different Arab countries, the assessment of the courses about land governance in different institutions and universities in the region. The third one is review of the land-related curricula in the Arab countries region. And the photo here shows the induction workshop, the opening of the project. It was in February 2020, also just before the COVID-19. Yes, next, please. Yeah. Right now, I finished the part talking about UTI, its role, establishment, role, and activities. I'm going now to talk with you very briefly about the capacity building activities specified for Delta region and the issue related to it. Just few examples of the activities in this regard. Next, please. Yes, we focus on the issues related to Delta. The first issue is urban encroachment on agricultural land. We conducted plenty of courses in this regard. The target group was included local officials, academics, and especially local officials working in Delta governorates. Next, please. Yes, another course also focusing on Delta region was informal areas upgrading, and this included the participatory mechanisms for informal areas development, and the training aims at enabling the participant to understand the reasons for formation of informal areas, the tools and skills that qualify them to develop modern strategies to improve these areas, and also how to prevent the establishment of new informal areas and the challenges of land management for the development of slums. Next, please. Yes, here I'm going to talk about an ongoing project also with UTI and GIZ, the German cooperation program in Egypt. We have a cooperation with GIZ started 2008, and the agreement of cooperation, we renew it periodically after 2 years. So since 2008, we are renewing the agreement, and it is going to be ended at the end of 2020, but we are working on renewing it again. The cooperation here includes GIS, or Geographic Information Systems application, for the local officials working in the urban upgrading units in different governorates, specifically in the Delta. And the focus of the program is to teach those personnel to use GIS applications to reach the broader goal, which is digitalizing all the paper maps and having everything on the computer instead of the ordinary paper, and also getting the people in the governorates aware of digitalizing their work in order to support them more effectively in preparation for the upgrading of informal areas. Next, please. Yes, the GIS application in urban development course. This is a photo showing one of the courses. We had this course implemented plenty of time, and also it targeted the ISDF personnel. Also, they came and attended a number of courses at our premises. The ISDF, where Dr. Marwa was talking about it. So this program is covering a huge number of personnel, and you can imagine that we started with some of them from scratch. I mean that some of them even, they did not know how to use the computer. They did not know how to read the maps. And then now they are using the GIS, and they have already started to work with it. So it was really hard in the beginning. However, now it is really progressing. Next, please. Yes, this is another example of the GIS courses. Next, please. Yes, this is another kind of capacity building, which is focusing on Delta region. We had a cooperation with GOPP and General Organization for Physical Planning and UN Habitat. to prepare strategic participatory plans for small cities in Egypt. This is part of the strategic urban plan project for 50 small cities in Egypt. Our work was mainly in Delta governorates, and also besides preparing the strategic urban plan for the small cities, we also raised the capacity of the local officials to prepare the local plans and to work with in a participatory approach. Of course, it was led by us. However, they were very cooperative, and we teach them how to lead the process in the future. Next, please. Yes, this is some other photos and example. And the governorates we focused on in Delta were Bahira and Kafr Sheikh governorates. We started with the strategic plans for villages, and then the strategic urban plans for a number of small cities. And then we focused also on a research oriented on urban rural linkages in order to link the villages with the adjacent urban settlements. And this is also a very important aspect that very useful and helpful in build the capacities of the local authorities to deal with their local context. With this slide, I am done with my presentation. I finished that, and I would like to thank you very much for your attention and for this opportunity. Thank you very much. I hope I am on time.
Great. Thanks a lot, Dr. Doaa.
You are welcome.
Yeah, actually, I think in such events, it's a great chance for everybody to know who is doing what in the field. I mean,
yes.
I don't know if our partners from Delta universities had any kind of cooperation with UTI before. At least, I mean, I'm sure that ISDF and several governorates, the UU's urban upgrading units, you have shown also the photo for some places. I met them actually before.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's actually it's a very important entity in the scene, I would say, that links between capacity building and research. So it fills some kind of gap, that what kind of knowledge that need to be there for those who are working on the ground, like the executives, like the local administrations, and giving the input through Mukhtar.
Yes.
Thanks, Dr. Doaa, for your great presentation and for UTI efforts and activities. My comment is that we are looking forward to extending your partners with Delta universities and Upper Egypt, because you mentioned that the partners only Cairo and Ain Shams universities, and we need to extend this knowledge, and we have more and more cooperation with these regions, because they are suffering from many critical problems, which is unique from or different from Egypt and from Cairo and
Shams. Yes.
Yes, of course. Okay. Also, I want to ask if there is any future plans for that, or
for the cooperation, you mean?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. So actually, we have already been in cooperation with Cairo University and Ain Shams, maybe because of the geographical location. However, we receive a lot of academics from Delta universities to attend courses, but we are very open and very welcoming any cooperation with any university. From which university you are?
Mansoura Universities.
Mansoura. Okay, so you are most welcome.
They have actually
thank
a
you.
very active unit, I have to say, which is SU Lab. It's founded in Faculty of Engineering Architecture Department. So the SU Lab are doing like kind of projects and cooperation, international cooperation, and yeah, so they're doing very well, and they are actually our partners in this project. And they have projects with Berlin also. They have other projects with Hamburg University. So they are doing a lot of.
So they are very active.
Yes, I have to say.
Okay, I would like to thank you, Dr. Hassan, for giving us this opportunity to get in touch. And I'm very welcoming you, Engineer Mukhtar or Dr. Mukhtar, I don't know.
Dr. Tubi, inshallah.
Dr. Tubi, inshallah.
Engineer Mukhtar, thank you.
Okay, so you are most welcome and you can contact me anytime. Okay.
I have a question, Dr. Doaa.
Yes, please.
The research efforts done.
Yes.
How can we reach it? I mean, where can we find the published researches done by?
At UTI.
Okay. So yes. We can. Okay, so we have to visit the UTI.
Actually, we have a nice library, a bigger one, of course, at HBRC, and we have our small library at UTI with our training materials and research publications. And we also having some books also published with the Dutch partners. And so we are thinking right now to transform them to PDF and to be in order yes, to be reached on the internet or
this would be great. I mean, yes. This would be great for yes. Like to facilitate accessibility for knowledge.
Yes,
all
sure.
All over Egypt and also people who are abroad. So
yeah. Most of the publications also actually are a bit old with the Dutch people when we started our project. However, they are very valuable and we are still referring to them right till now. So yes. I hope we can do this. We will start thinking about digitalizing our publications. Yes, thank you for that.
Just one question from Dr. Dalia Wahdan.
Yes, Dalia? Welcome. I know her. Welcome, Dr. Dalia.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Doaa.